All right, guys, good morning. Welcome. Hey, today we're going to talk about some solving equations. So how to solve equations. You guys are used to equations like this right here, where you have 3x minus 5 equals 22. You add the opposite to both sides. So right here, you know you'd add the opposite of negative 5 to both sides. When you get there, you'd have 3x equals 27. You then divide by the coefficient of x, which means the number in front of the x, divide by 3, and you get x equals 9. So nothing on this changes, okay? But what if our equation started off as this, where I had variables on both sides of the equation, okay? What step do we take to get from this type of an equation to one that you already know how to do? Well, what we do there is we want to take the variable on the right side and we want to add the opposite of it to the left side. So what's the opposite of positive 4x? It would be negative 4x. So 7x plus negative 4x is 3x, okay? Okay, so I think all you're doing is taking this here and making it this by just canceling out this one little variable right here. Okay, pretty simple. Okay, what happens if you got more than that though? What happens if you got this thing going on right here? Okay, so here you can see we have multiple x terms right here. Here you can see we have multiple numbered terms right here. So what this is called is we need to combine like terms, that's what CLT stands for, combine like terms on the left side and on the right side. So if we're stuck with that, we got to combine 9x and negative 2x. Well, 9x and negative 2x makes 7x. And then on the right side, we've got 17 and 5, which adds up to 22. So you can see this right here turns into this right here. When we subtract the 4x from both sides, this right here turns into that right there, and then we just solve as we normally do. So let's follow those steps as we do solve equations with variables on both sides. You got two problems here. We're going to start with this one here. It's a little easier. It's just two terms on each side. I brought down our rules there, and I've just written them down here. Pretty simple. There are not like terms on the left side or the right side that we can combine. So there's nothing to do on that first step there. But the next step, I can get rid of the positive s right here. I can do that by adding a negative s to both sides. When I do that, negative s and negative 4s equals negative 5s. From there, I will then subtract 8 from both sides to get to here. I will then divide by negative 5. Oh, and I see a mistake on there. That should be, hopefully you saw it as well, that should be a negative 1 right there. And that's how you do that. Okay, next one. Now we've got this one right here. So I'm just going to slide this one out of the way so we don't get that one confused. And I'm going to bring the next one in. Okay. So on this one, you can see combine like terms on the left and the right side. Well, on the left side, I have some like terms I could combine. I don't on the right, but I do on the left. So let's do that first. Negative f and positive 4f makes positive 3f right here. Once we're in that spot, we add the opposite. So we take the the right variable, the negative 3f, add the opposite. So we're going to add 3f to both sides. 3f plus 3f is 6f. So, oh, you know what I'm just noticing? This should say, you guys, this is where teachers make mistakes too. This should not say left side. It should say right side. Add the opposite of the right side variable. Boy, no wonder. Add the opposite of the right side variable. So we want this right side variable. Add the opposite. So you can see teachers make mistakes too. We'll just keep moving on because I think you now understand. That's what I've been doing. The opposite of this one is positive 3f. We get to here, and then you know how to solve from there. So that takes care of equations with variables on both sides. All right, let's see how quickly I can get through the next one. Now this one is same thing, equations with variables on both sides, only with decimals and fractions. It's not that hard. So let's take this first one, for example, this one right here that I'm looking at, and I'm just going to plop that in here as well. What I like to do if I have a decimal is I like to multiply it by the smallest number possible to get rid of the decimal. So for anything that's a 0.5, I'm going to multiply by 2. If it was a 0.2, 0.8, 0.6, 0.4 and even numbered, I might multiply by 5. If I see 0.1, 0.7, 0.3, then I'm going to multiply by 10. Just whatever I can, the easiest number to multiply to get rid of my decimals. However, you need to remember there is 1, 2, 3, 4 terms in this. And whatever I multiply one term by, I have to multiply every single term by that. So if I'm multiplying this by 2, I multiply this by 2 to get to s. I multiply 1 by 2 to get to 2. I multiply 7 by 2 to get to 14. And I multiply 4.5 to get to 9. Hopefully that makes sense. Okay, there were no combining like terms in this one, so I can skip this step here, and that happens sometimes. I just need to get rid of the 9s from this side. Again, I wrote it down wrong. It should be the right side, not the left side. Sorry about that. So I'm going to subtract 9s from both sides. I get to here. So right now I'm at this point right here. From there, I just solve it the way I normally know how to. Pretty simple. Okay, let's do another one here. Okay, the next middle one right here. I think it's this one. Hey, it is. There we go. So on this one, so step number 1, multiply all terms by a common denominator, or the easiest number. Well, what's my common denominator for this one? You should probably all go, well, it's 3. So if I multiply this term by 3, the 3's will cancel, and I'm just left with 8c. You'll notice it's just the top number times c. Same thing over here. When I multiply this term, oopsie. When I multiply this term by 3, the 3's will cancel, so I'm just left with 2c. Pretty simple. But I got to remember to multiply this by 3, so I get -6, and this by 3, so I get -36. Then we're going to cancel the right side variable by subtracting 2c from both sides. That's where I get this, and then solving the way you normally know how. Okay? If you need to watch that video again for that, go ahead. Okay, last one. This one over here. Okay? So again, my common denominator, well, I only have one denominator, and it's 5. So it only makes sense. I'm going to multiply all 4 terms by 5. 12 times 5 is 60. The 5's, when I multiply this by 5, will cancel, so I'm just the -1r, which we can just rewrite as -r. 2r times 5 is 10r, and 1 times 5 is 5. Then we get rid of the positive 10r by subtracting 10r from both sides. We get -11r, and then solve it the way you guys know how. Hopefully this makes sense, guys. Sorry for having a little longer video this time. Have a great day, and we will see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.